Good morning to you. What's today's date? March the 14th. Today is March the 14th. For all you March babies out there, your day is coming or your day is already gone. Or today may be your day. So, good morning to you. But what is I don't know what sign is. I mean, I know what Aries and stuff like that. For all you April babies that's coming up. Um, yeah, that's me. So good morning to you. Today is March the 14th. It is a Tuesday. It is another day for you to be successful, another day for you to be blessed, another day for you to be bigger, better, and greater than what you were this past day. But again, like always, I'm gonna give you some gratitude, some appreciation, right here in the morning. So if you don't get any type of gratitude throughout the day, you can come and get it here first. You can come and get poured into here first and in the morning, and you can take that and use it and apply it to the rest of your day into your subconscious mind. So again, like always, good morning to you for all that do come in and listen to the podcast and the distribution side. So, like always, 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 this is Mr. R2 here at your Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice today. All right. Man, what y'all think about this daylight savings time? Like, honestly, I didn't know they were still doing it. I thought they were doing away with it. And it's totally messed up my whole psyche because it's like spring forward, but it's more like it sprung us so far forward it puts us into the fall. Like the weather is off, like everything is off from yesterday. Because I didn't know that it actually changed because I woke up this morning my normal regiment, waking up at 5, leaving by 5:30 type of deal, and running, and then coming back and preparing myself to come in front of you. So this daylight savings time yesterday, I thought it was good, but then when I looked at my car and looked at the clock, it said 4:54. I was like, wait a minute. So I'm thinking the alarm was set for 5, but I was really waking up from the previous day's time of 4 o'clock. So it yesterday was like wow, but it really made the weather funky too because it was chilly, but we supposed to be going into spring, but you giving me fall like feelings, with the time and the weather. So I don't know. I'm sure it's not just me. If it's you too, cool. We can fight this together and go through it together. So because this weather, this weird, this timeline, all this weird, funny stuff. But we'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone right now. All right. So what we're going to be talking about today is um, pouring in the big pour in. Let me put up the graphics for some of y'all that come in after the big pour in, as you can see, the big pour in. All right, Miss Scott, man, it's you too. Trust and believe. Like my yesterday just felt like I went back into time. I'm like, wait a minute, is this February? Because it's feeling like February, but you're telling me it's March. I didn't get that. Like, am I in February or am I in March heading into spring? Is it really going to be 80 degrees today? Or I mean, is it going to be 82 degrees today or is it going to be 28 degrees today? Like pick and choose. Don't throw me around and tell me it's springtime, but then you tell me to go get my coat. It's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Now that I know it's not just me, I appreciate you for your open, honest, and transparency. But with this daylight savings time, we're gonna check what we pour into ourselves. That's what we're doing today. And as you can see, today's question that's right there, that's proposed, is what have you poured into you in the last 30 days? Like, what have you poured into you? Like, did you learn something new, or did you push through something that you were behind? It was an obstacle that you had, that you were dealing with, or a situation in your life that you were dealing with, and you had to pour something into you to tell you, like, this is not where it's going to end. It's not going to end here because I'm not going to make this my my destination because I know where I'm going and it's not right here and I'm pushing into it. So you had to pour a little bit of energy into yourself. You had to pour a new type of message into you and into yourself as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this. The big pour in. Let me remove this caption. The big pour in. So, of course, those who know the platform, you're going to get definitions and you're going to get inverted definitions. And then we're going to head into the deep dive and then we're going to close it out. So, again, if there's anything that resonates with you, go ahead and put it inside the chat just so people can know like your gifts too. So you can drop jewels as well. So, before we jump in here, I want you to pour into, put that inside the chat. Pour into, POURINTO, pour into. All right, let's go with the first definition. The first definition to pour into says give lots of effort, money, or help. Give lots of effort, money, or help. And of course, we're not talking about the money or the help part, but sometimes you got to be your own help. You know what? Let me take that back. Yeah, I'll stick with this. All right. So the inversion that we're talking about is red over white, which is give lots of effort. Like effort. Like what is look and examine like effort. Like what type of effort have you given yourself? That's you pouring into you. Like giving yourself the opportunity to learn, giving yourself the opportunity and the energy to grow, giving yourself the opportunity to tell you that this is not my ending, but this is just the beginning because I'm walking away from this obstacle, but I'm walking towards the opportunity. That's conversations that you have with you that puts you in a position to where I can receive what I'm supposed to receive. And I think that's like where the money comes in. Because if I'm pouring into me good work ethics, great habits, uh, a better way of eating or a much more efficient way of using my time, then you're ultimately, like it says in the white, money or help, like ultimately it will begin to help you because it will begin to change your process of thought. And because when your process of thought changes, then your state of mind changes as well. Only because you begin to look at what you pour into you, like your efforts of pouring into you, taking the time to tell you that it's important, or taking the time to sit with you and to talk with yourself and to write down, these are the things that I want to get done. And this is how I'm going to execute these things. That's pouring into you. That is sitting down and being open, honest, and transparent about what you have and where you want to go, and formulating and creating a plan on how you actually are going to get there. That's pouring into you. So, second definition, and then we're going to jump into the deep dive. Second definition to pour into is to give a lot of money, to give a lot of money or effort to something with the idea of making it successful. So the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, which is to give effort to the idea of making it successful. To give effort to the idea of making it successful. It's not you waiting for somebody else to tell you that it's going to be successful, or you waiting for somebody else to validate what you're doing in order for it to become successful. That is you giving it effort. That's you giving it life, not you allowing someone else to take the life from it to put you in a position to say this is only going to be successful unless I'm doing it with you. That shouldn't be the case, because if your purpose was given to you on purpose, then purposefully you got to make it happen. Purposefully, the gift has to succeed because you acknowledge that it was given to you and you have assumed that responsibility. And as it says, to give effort to the idea of making it successful. That means it is not just the idea, it is also to make it successful, means that the work isn't done after the idea is formulated, because after the idea is formed, I still have work to do in order for me to manifest it or to bring it into fruition. It takes effort, not just a concept, but effort. Getting up, creating, duplicating if need be, and making it successful. You making the conscious decision of doing something better than what you did the last time you did it, giving effort to the idea. So now, as we begin to go into the process of this deep dive, what I want you to understand that what you pour in, you have to be careful, because pouring into to something is really you pouring in ingredients to, to you and to what you're doing. Like, what are you pouring into you, and what have you poured into you? But a lot of times what we have to do when we look at what we pour into us, we have to eliminate what we will not pour into us first, right? Because what you say, I will not pour into me, will allow me to know what I won't do. Because if I know what I won't do, then I can easily tell you what I will do. Like, I won't pour self doubt. I won't pour fear. I won't pour sabotage into me. I won't pour complacency into me. I won't pour inconsistency into me. Because when you look at those things and you acknowledge those things exist, because you might have lived in that word, or you might be dealing with, self-doubt and fear and sabotage and inconsistencies and stuff like that. That means that you look at it, you can identify it, and you will fight for it, and you will fight your way through it in order for you to get to the other side. Because if you're telling yourself, I will not pour self doubt into me. So now you're looking at what you know that you have a task to do. And now you say, okay, I'm not going to doubt myself. Let me make sure I write down what I want. I want to start this at 1 o'clock. And by 1:30, I want to have this done. By 2 o'clock, I want to have this done. Like, whatever it is, you're pushing through the self doubt because you have identified maybe some deficiencies that you've had in the past. That takes transparency. Like, what you refuse not to do, you will not allow it to pour into you. I'm going to say that again. What you refuse not to do, you will refuse it from being poured into you. I mean, some of us, like, we might have dealt with bad history in the past, whether it was family trauma or trauma on the job or trauma in our own lives, be it personal, professional, love, whatever. You really know what you won't allow to be in your presence anymore. Like, I'm not going to allow that to pour into my life, because I know what that feels like, and it doesn't feel good. So I refuse for that to be poured into any of my situations. Think about it. Your vulnerability to what you refuse to pour into you will open more doors of opportunity to be free and to pour freely into you without hesitation. That's you knowing what I want to be poured into me, knowing what my non-negotiables of what I don't want poured into me. What's pouring into you will allow you to plant the proper seeds in the proper soil, just by knowing what you want poured into you. Because I'm a firm believer that what we pour into ourselves sets the tone for our outcome. Think about it. Like, what we pour into ourselves sets the tone for our outcome. Because if I want this particular outcome, then I know that I have work to do that is going to prepare me for this possible end state. So I have to ensure that I'm pouring the right things inside of me. I mean, let's look at it like this from the analogy like making Kool-Aid. So if I know that I want the outcome to be red or cherry, y'all know what I'm talking about, to be red, then I must ensure that I'm pouring the proper type of powder into it. So if I'm pouring the proper type of powder and the proper amount of sugar, then I know the outcome that I want of this is to be something that tastes good. So I have to have the right amount of ingredients. I have to have the right amount of what I want to see. So the outcome is only going to be visible, but just by what I pour into it. Because you're pouring decisions today will prepare you for your tomorrow's capacity. Like, what capacity do you have to love? What capacity do you have to build? What capacity do you have to be happy? What capacity do you have to smile? So, like, what decisions are you pouring into you today? Like, what are you pouring into your thoughts? Like, what movies are you watching? What books are you reading? What articles have you read? Like, in the beginning when we did 2% of environment, which was the first 28 minutes of your day, like what are you doing in the first 28 minutes of your day? Or even what are you doing on your Sunday to prepare you for the week? Like, what are you pouring into you to prepare you for what is to come? Like, what are you pouring into your passions? Are you pouring into your fears? Because if you're pouring fear into your glass or you're pouring it out, you have to understand, if I'm pouring out of my fear, if I'm pouring my fears out, that means I'm making room for opportunity. I'm making room for my gifts. I'm making room for faith. I'm making room to allow me to fulfill the capacity of what I know that I should have here inside of me. So sometimes you got to pour that out. Those things that are inside of you, pour out the bad energy and things like that, because we all can complain about what's not happening in our lives, but are we willing to examine what we've poured into ourselves? I mean, think about it. Like, what have you poured into yourself that you're now holding yourself responsible for? What outcomes have manifested itself? You're going to have to look at what you poured into you. You're going to look at the time that you probably you knew you probably should not have done that, but you did it anyway, and now you don't like the outcome. Like, the outcome had an origin. So what are you pouring into yourself? Because when you're looking at what you're pouring into yourself, that's going to take humility. It's going to take some transparency, because that pouring into you is like a replication of your belief system. Like they say, garbage in, garbage out. Well, what you pour in is what will come out. What you pour in is what will come out, because that's your subconscious decision of what you accept to be poured into you. Because, like, when you're looking at TV, you're watching movies, you're talking with people, those are influences, because that is a outward situation, that is an outward sound, that is an outward sight. But what you allow to be consumed inside of you is what you allow to be poured inside of you. Like, you don't have to receive it, but the subconscious decision of you receiving it and accepting it is what's poured into you. So we're going to have to check our influences. And you're going to have to see what's being poured. Some of us might not need to be in those rooms where they're pouring things that we know that is not, where we are right now. That's not what we do. So check your influences and see what's being poured out. And then those things that should not be poured out will not be a part of what you do, where you go, and what's happening. And you're not going to be a part of that anymore. So pour into you and acknowledge what's been poured. And again, peace. Good morning, Ms. Weston. Good morning, Ms. Mecca. Acknowledge what's been poured. And I guarantee you, when you see what's being poured into you, it will change your outcome. But be open, honest, and transparent about what you're pouring into you or what you're allowing to be poured into you, because that's a self-reflection. Like, every time I begin to do this, I begin to feel afraid. Now, being concerned is different from being afraid. Being concerned is okay because you're using your wisdom. You're allowing yourself to make hasty moves, but move from a way that the wisdom still allows you to understand, like, I see this is what it is. I acknowledge that this is what it is. But if this is the outcome that I don't want, then I'm not doing this anymore. Big difference. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. But nah, I appreciate you for being here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. For those that have been there, go ahead and drop your takeaways, put it in the comment section, and I want to come back and learn from you. So I'm gonna come back in the comment section and see what's out there, and just so we can build and continue to build this digital relationship. Y'all be blessed. Peace.